Last call for the Swinger, baby. This is the third last call edition for Dodge. This is the Challenger Swinger. This is based off the Scat Pack. This has the wide body, the 6.4 liter, the shaker hood, 485 horsepower, and just like the 300C I had a couple weeks ago, it's around 475 pound-feet of torque. Now this is a 6-speed manual. We're going to talk about how this drives in a little bit, but we have the Sublime Green. You can also get this in a white knuckle, I believe, as well as the Fate Green or the F8 Green. That's a more of a darker color. This one screams Austin Powers. That's why I introed the video the way I did. But yeah, I mean, the Dart had this sort of swinger mentality back in the late 60s, early 70s. And it is kind of an homage to that vehicle way before my time. We have Brembo brakes up the front, we got the B on the side, we got the Swinger decal around the back, and this color it's groovy, baby. Getting to the back, I love when they refreshed the Challenger, they gave it a beautiful throwback taillight, but they're LED at the same time. It looks so much more premium than the pre-refreshed rear taillights. Blacked out spoiler. Fat tires here on the back, big surprise, but there's some cool, interesting things here on the inside that's unique too. So we have the gold school accent, so it's like kind of like this gold-like trimmings for the stitching around the seats here in the middle of the seat as well. We got these soft suede-like seats. I really, really like these seats. You also have that gold school stitching on the steering wheel. Getting on at the inside, gold stitching on the shifter. Oh my gosh, I love the shifter so much. We also have this faux wood around here that's around the screen, the instrument cluster, which I think fits in here quite well. And you also have the unique Swinger. You know, when I did my Black Ghost, it had a unique little badge here too, I remember. So the Swinger gets its own little fingerprint here with this unique badge here underneath the vent. But really it's about the same vehicle on the inside as any other Challenger besides those gold accents and that Swinger badge. And yes, I really wish this had a gold accent and a Swinger badge right here instead of the Dodge logo, but it is what it is. Pretty standard affair here. If you're wondering what kind of fuel economy I'm getting, about 13 miles per gallon in town. I've been driving it mainly in town. Just actually took my kids to school. They're pretty small, first and second grade, so they're able to fit back there, and they had a good time. They said they have plenty of leg room. So adults, I wouldn't recommend it. We have the Alpine stereo in here. It gets pretty loud. I think it sounds pretty good. It doesn't rattle the car. It sounds very rich and balanced. We have the analog tach here. Pretty cool, analog speedometer, but you can also switch this to the digital speedometer. Android Auto's playing. It just plugs in right through here. You got a couple USBs as well as a aux, little 12-volt cup holders. There's not a lot of space to store your stuff, so this is pretty much the only place where your phone can go, or you can put it in a cup holder area. But hey, like, I'm ready to start driving this Swinger, baby. Well, the parking brake is actually a pedal down here. I wish it was more of the manual style. This is really old school, and you know, growing up, you would just smash the emergency brake or this parking brake here, and it would return and turn off. You actually have to pull this lever to release it. So that is something I didn't understand the first time. I just wanted to smash it. But let's talk about how easy this car is to drive. My gosh, you would think with a 6.4 liter V8 underneath the hood, like, you can't make a whole lot of mistakes, or the power will just take over and abuse you for not being good to it. That's not the case here. This is actually one of the easiest manuals to drive I've ever tested. The clutch is super forgiving. You don't have to give it a lot of gas to get started, which is great. The only thing that took me just a hair to get used to is when you're upshifting, it really likes a little bit of gas before you start engaging that clutch again, or disengaging the pedal, should I say. So it is super easy to drive, and it makes for enjoying this Challenger. It's just way better than I thought it was going to be. So here's the thing. Should you like even consider a last call? Well, if you're a collector, maybe. So I'm just going to skip to the important part. You can get this in a standard Challenger, the 6-speed manual or the 6.4 with the Scat Pack. just do that. You don't, unless you need to have this Swinger, which I think is ridiculous. It's over the top, and Swinger is not something you want to be known as most of the time. It's kind of like a secret society of swingers out there. When you're driving this, there's not a lot of secrecy going on. It almost labels you as a swinger, which maybe you want that. Maybe you're into that promiscuity. And just sitting here at a stoplight, yes, I'm churning through gas right now, but I have a beautiful exhaust note that I hear at all times, and the manual shifter here is always wagging its tail. It's not quite as happy and as peppy as, let's say, the Jack Russell shifter in the Miata, for example. Wow, okay, this Tacoma, that's the thing. When you have a huge V8 under the hood, you're always held back by drivers. Not so much the speed limit, but other drivers. This shifter, when you're idling, yes, it wags back and forth too, like a happy tail, but it's more like a Rottweiler sort of happy tail wag compared to the Miata's Jack Russell, perky, quick, fast, super energetic, but not the strongest or the fastest vehicle. This is a meaty, heavy shifter here, and it's been really easy. Gosh, this Tacoma is really killing us. BMW is not happy. But yeah, just downshifting too has been super easy. Rev matching, the pedals are kind of far apart if you're into heel toe, but I could care less. I would never take to the track and try to heel toe it. But yeah, we'll try downshifting here and blipping the throttle. It's really easy and one of the easiest actually too. Like a rev match, even down to second gear. That one wasn't perfect, but yeah, it's been very easy to do, and to rev match your downshift with just a blip of the throttle. No, there's no auto rev matching. This is old school. It's pretty basic. The engine braking is great in here too, by the way, which, yeah, you can either just put it in neutral and use the brakes, or leave it in second gear for like under 25 miles an hour and let the engine braking do its thing. You rarely have to get into these Brembo brakes, which feel great, by the way. Very predictable, very linear, very meaty brake pedal. There's no denying this is a heavy vehicle. It's a heavy coupe. I don't really enjoy taking it around turns. It feels like a big boat, has a longer wheelbase, and it's just very, very heavy. Kind of like that Rottweiler mentality, but it's got a lot of bark and it's got a lot of bite to match it. So getting stopped at a stoplight, it's pretty common down here for hours. Lots of headroom in here. I feel like I have a ton of space, even though it's a coupe. The kids in the back, they couldn't believe when I'm like, it's a big car, you know, it's not meant for a racetrack. They're like, but it's so small. I'm like, well, it's small in the back seat, but it's really big up here. And of course, on the outside, this vehicle is enormous. So this is I try to explain to my girls that this is a drag race car. It's really good at going in a straight line very quickly. Finally. Let's see if we can get around here. The Suburban's hauling. Pedal down. You know, it doesn't feel as fast as I was expecting. I think the 300C is quite a bit quicker. I don't know why. Maybe it's a placebo effect, but I don't feel like this has as much grunt and as much ferocity as the 300C. I'm not saying it's any less. Like I said, it's very satisfying. There's fifth gear. Blip the throttle for fourth. Blip it for third. Pedal down. It just doesn't feel, it doesn't have that neck snapping acceleration like you would expect from a huge V8. And maybe it's because I've driven Hellcats in the past, like the Black Ghost, for example. Oh, you know, hitting that pothole makes me want to talk about the suspension. Yes, it's fast, but it doesn't feel like just stupid fast. And that's great with a manual. I always feel like I'm in complete control, but let's go into the ride quality. It's very soft in here. Even in the turns, like it feels very comfortable. It's not overly stiff. The 300C actually might have been a little bit stiffer than this. I don't know if that's true or not. It just feels like for a coupe, this is a really soft suspension in here. There's no creaks or rattles going on either. And yeah, this could be an amazing grand touring vehicle to tour across the States to take a long road trip in, because these seats are very comfortable, the ride quality is very comfortable. Put it into 6, you'll be getting 25, probably say 25 miles per gallon sustained on the interstate, maybe a little bit better than that. In town, it's probably like I said, 13, 14, or 15, somewhere around there, depending on how heavy your foot is. This is just one of 1,000 models, and I think that's also combined with the 4th last call, which is the Swinger edition of the Charger, which is, go figure, like the same thing as this, just with 4 doors. I wouldn't be getting the Swinger. I think it's a little silly, and I don't want to be locked into just 3 paint colors. So I'd be probably happy with a non-limited edition. You're going to get the same horsepower, you just don't get like that unique Swinger badge on the vent, and you don't get the unique Swinger decal on the rear, which I don't want those anyway. So I'll just be getting a standard one, saving a crap ton of money because it is not a limited edition. Oh, that's another thing. When I'm out here on this specific road, this thing cannot track straight. You take your hand off the steering wheel and you're going one way or the other. It's unfortunate. I've had a few vehicles like the Infiniti Q50, Q60 that do something similar, but this is even more aggressive. It almost feels like the alignment's out of whack, but it's only on this road. Like certain other roads, it's not fighting me just to stay in a straight line. So yeah, it just depends on the contour of the pavement. But anyways, I feel like I've said everything I needed to say about this. This is an old school coupe, big V8, has amazing looks, if you can take away the Swinger logo, and I am happy in here. I feel pure American. I feel like this vehicle does everything I want as a weekend warrior, and the 6-speed manual is chef's kiss. It's done really well. Only thing that can make it better is like rev matching downshifts that are automatic instead of me being lazy and having to do it myself. I'd rather just boom, 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 like so many other products. For example, if you missed my CTS or CT5 series Blackwing with a supercharged V8 with a 6-speed manual that had rev matching downshifts, and this vehicle probably doesn't cost that much less in this Swinger limited edition. So not the best I've driven, but man, it is very, very satisfying, and I think people who are into this sort of thing would be super, super happy, you swingers out there. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one, and signing out from the Challenger with the 6.4 liter and nearly 500 horsepower, and I'm stuck in traffic.